The way that I approached legato was like totally different than the way I approached picking. Picking, I was very uniform and very regimented in my practice, and made sure I, crossed the strings with comfortable strokes and kind of set my patterns up like that. But with legato, I never really sat down and practiced it like picking. I just improvised. My legato playing all just came from improvising and finding certain moves and things that my fingers felt comfortable with, that I could express myself with. And generally how I practice legato is just over a beat. So if I was to put the metronome on, I'm just using my old Aria RS Stray Cat that I've been playing a lot in my videos. I got this for like $280. That included shipping on eBay a few months ago. I had one of these when I was a kid, as I talked about on my channel, and I'm going through the new Positive Grid Spark 40, and that's it. So this whole setup costs less than $600. But I really like the sound. I'm having fun. It's great to play with. It's a lot of fun. The key to legato for me is to keep the string ringing and the muting and keeping the string ringing. And a lot of it's left hand muting. The majority is left hand muting, and then I just mute the lower strings like this with the palm of this part of my hand kind of in there, just kind of mute it. One thing that some people have been asking me about my legato playing is if I do all hammers. And I never really heard of that before, all hammers. To me, all hammers seems like it would stop the string from ringing. But what I do is I lift off a little bit, just enough to keep the next note ringing. So I'm not like pulling off the note incredibly hard or anything. I just lift off. There's just a little bit of a lift off, so it's kind of that motion like I'm sort of all hammering, but I actually have a little bit of a lift off to keep the string ringing. It sounds like this. I do that a lot, where I'm just hammering all the lower strings. Anytime I go to a lower string, I just hammer and then pull off or lift off. I do that a lot, but I'm not actually hammering down every note. And kind of mix it up. So that's what I did. I just try to keep the string ringing as much as possible, mute out, and then I just practice the motions, my fingers going forwards and backwards and mixing it up. And I would just take kind of common licks and just try to get it as seamless as possible, like maybe... That sort of thing's a lot of fun to practice, and you can just kind of relax your hand and try to feel the rhythmic motion, kind of get a little rhythm going. And I always hammer to the lower strings. One thing I love about legato is it has such a slippery feel that you can do these really cool lines where you're mixing up all the rhythms and directions, and I love that. That's what I love about legato, and just the it sounds like a vocal almost, like. One thing that really moved me about Allan's playing that I always tried to get was that kind of slight vibrato on the notes that just would kind of hang there, and then he'd go into a flurry. That just really had an impact on me, and I just always tried to get that similar kind of sound. Someone asked if I would show that ascending part of that, and here's what I'm doing. Just going. To me, Allan Holdsworth was everything. When I hear legato in my head, I hear Allan Holdsworth, and I just try the best I can to sound like Allan Holdsworth, and I don't even come close. But I just love Allan's playing so much, just that tone and touch as I was talking about. One thing that really helped me was just playing like a scale straight up, 3 notes per string, but trying to play it as 16th notes and keep it as even as possible. And with legato, I find a medium speed works best. Try to play it in rhythm at a medium speed is a lot harder than just playing really fast and floating around. That's a fun line where you're just playing. Groups of 5. Some of my favorite legato players are definitely Allan Holdsworth, Shawn Lane. I just love Shawn's playing. He does just amazing legato stuff. The Bill Connor stuff from the 80s, the 3 albums he did, Assembler and Double Up, albums like that are just brilliant. I love that playing. Scott Henderson has some really nice legato phrasing, especially in the late 80s, early 90s period. Just amazing stuff. There are just so many great players that play in that legato style. I love all the 80s LA guys that played with a real kind of legato, slippery feel, like George Lynch and Warren DeMartini. Those guys were just huge for me. Greg Howe, another just brilliant legato player. And even Yngwie and Tony Macalpine, Vinnie Moore all play beautiful legato phrases. There's just so many great players out there that play brilliant legato stuff. You can't help but be inspired. Also listen to other instruments. Like Holdsworth talked about listening to the saxophone a lot, and you could really hear that in his playing. And when I hear like John Coltrane play the intro to Alabama, I just hear that as legato and hear that just beautiful phrasing. And you can't help but have that sort of thing rub off on your playing when you listen to it a lot, and it really has an impact on you emotionally. So I thought it'd be fun just to come on, play some legato licks and talk about it a little bit. But I'll go into detail in the future and break down more of the actual licks. But for me, the key is to keep the string ringing as long as possible, mute it out, relax your hand, and just allow your fingers to kind of feel the rhythms, feel the motions. And that's kind of how I approach it initially. So thanks a lot for joining me. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll do more. And thanks for watching.